Jin gets extra security in Tampa. What changed at this concert? The crowd screams were deafening, the stage set more immaculate than ever. But what truly shocked observers at Jin's Seokjin P Tour US stop in Tampa wasn't the dazzling visuals or powerful vocals. It was the unusually strict and visible security measures that surrounded the BTS member throughout the event. What's happening behind the scenes that demanded such extraordinary precautions? Was there a threat HYB didn't disclose? And more importantly, why did Jin's concert in Tampa feel markedly different from the previous stops? Thousands of armies who packed the venue that night were met with a jarring sight long before the show began. Layers of armed personnel patrolling key access points, unfamiliar plainclothes agents scanning the crowd, and even drone surveillance buzzing subtly above the stage perimeter. Fans who had followed Jin's solo tour closely immediately recognized the anomaly. Never before had the artist's concert resembled a high-security diplomatic event. Why now? And why Tampa? Speculations ignited like wildfire on social media as fans uploaded videos showing tight perimeters around Jin's waiting room, unusually strict bag inspections, and reports of multiple emergency rehearsals conducted earlier that day. Some fans were even escorted away for violating proximity restrictions, a phrase that itself sounded militaristic and out of place in a pop concert. These incidents raised serious questions. Was Jin being threatened? Were there intelligence reports indicating potential harm? Or was something more complex unfolding beneath the surface? Though official channels remained completely silent, indirect clues hinted at an internal protocol breach days before the concert. Leaked photographs circulating in niche forums allegedly depicted classified briefing documents containing Jin's movement routes within the venue, raising concern that someone within the organization may have leaked sensitive information. Could this explain the tight clampdown on Jin's surroundings during the Tampa concert? And if so, who leaked the data and why? The aura around the venue was tense. Fans noticed that Jin appeared visibly restrained, not emotionally, but physically, his access to the crowd strictly controlled. At no point did he step off stage or interact closely with the front row, which had previously been a heartwarming highlight of his solo stops. His usual charm was present, but it now felt channeled through layers of invisible protocol. The emotional barrier between him and the audience wasn't just metaphorical, it was actively constructed and enforced, adding further weight to the mystery. Multiple industry insiders, speaking anonymously, reported that Tampa was originally not planned as a major stop in Jin's itinerary, but was later upgraded with unusually large production and tactical resources. Special lighting rigs were flown in directly from Seoul just for this show. Specific seating arrangements were changed just hours before doors opened. Was it all a cover for something else? Was Jin being hidden in plain sight? The performance itself was flawless. Jin delivered vocally, emotionally, and technically. But those paying close attention saw subtle distress signals, his hand repeatedly tapping the microphone during certain segments, a signal some speculate may have been prearranged with the backstage team. During his performance of Tonight, his voice cracked not from emotion, but from what seemed like momentary tension. There was no extended encore, no lingering on stage for post-show fanfare. He exited quickly, surrounded instantly by at least 7 security personnel who formed a tight box around him as he disappeared into the backstage corridor. Online communities exploded within hours. Armies speculated on everything from stalking threats to industry blackmail to surveillance breaches involving external parties. Tampa, which should have been just another city on a successful tour, had instead become a lightning rod for suspicion and fear. Some fans even pointed out odd vehicle movements outside the venue. SUVs with unmarked plates and tinted windows, arriving late and leaving earlier than expected. Adding to the intrigue was the complete radio silence from Jin himself. No Wever's post. No thank you message. Not even a cryptic emoji. Fans who've grown used to Jin's candid post-show reflections were met with nothing but a void this time. This deafening silence sparked yet another wave of unease. Was Jin forbidden from speaking out? Or worse, Was he himself unaware of the full scope of what was happening around him? It's important to note that Jin's popularity has exploded exponentially following his return from military service. Many analysts have observed that his influence now stretches far beyond music, reaching into diplomatic, cultural, and even political spheres. Could it be that this growing influence has drawn unwanted attention from forces outside the music industry? Is it possible that Jin has become a symbol, both beloved and dangerous, in the eyes of global entities? One particular detail stood out among the sea of confusion. Multiple fans caught glimpses of a small, rarely used emergency exit near the side stage being guarded throughout the performance. That exit had no operational reason to be monitored, unless a secondary escape plan had been activated. Was there a credible threat requiring Jin to have a backup exit route? If so, why wasn't it publicly disclosed? The media has largely ignored the issue, focusing instead on the concert's technical brilliance and fan turnout. But some independent observers believe this is precisely the problem. By not addressing the visible escalation in security, the public is being lulled into a false sense of normalcy. Are these heightened measures part of a larger, concealed narrative involving Jin's tour and safety? Notably, this incident comes amid rising tensions between artist freedom and corporate control. Many armies have grown increasingly skeptical of how decisions around BTS members are being made post-enlistment. The Tampa episode has only deepened these concerns. If such drastic precautions were necessary, why weren't fans informed beforehand? And if there was no threat at all, why enact measures that created a climate of fear and paranoia? Another point of unease was the noticeable absence of any fellow BTS members in Tampa. While most of them are still completing military duties, fans who attended earlier tour stops noted small video cameos or recorded voice messages from at least one member. In Tampa, there was nothing. No mention, no montage, no symbolic presence. The stage, though grand, felt emotionally empty, had something fractured internally. Industry veterans suggest that Jin's solo success has introduced delicate tensions behind the scenes, balancing group identity with individual ascendancy. Tampa, in this light, may have symbolized not just a physical threat, but a metaphorical one. The risk of Jin's independence becoming too visible, too powerful, and therefore needing to be carefully managed, even controlled. Even days after the event, discussions remain heated. Aerial photos showing security checkpoints well outside the venue gates have been dissected online, with some fans mapping the logistics and comparing them to previous concerts. All evidence points to one conclusion: Tampa was not just another concert. It was a controlled environment, wrapped in secrecy and shielded from scrutiny. The question is, why? Until now, no official explanation has been offered. No statement has been released. And Jin himself remains silent. What is he not being allowed to say? What danger loomed over Tampa so large that it required such an overwhelming security response? And most haunting of all, is this the beginning of a new era where fan safety, artist freedom, and corporate strategy quietly collide? As theories spiral and questions multiply, one thing is clear: Jin's Tampa concert was not like the others. And whatever happened that night, whatever threat was real, imagined, or orchestrated, has fundamentally changed how fans will view the rest of this tour. Eyes are now wide open, and trust has been quietly shaken. This is no longer just about music. It's about what remains hidden beneath the lights, beyond the screams, and outside the reach of the stage. But as the dust settles and the tension begins to fade, one undeniable fact must finally be addressed. This entire narrative is false. The speculation surrounding Jin's concert in Tampa, though emotionally gripping and rich with visual detail, has no basis in verified truth. There was no elevated threat level, no secretive emergency exits, no hidden intelligence reports, and no internal sabotage. The heightened security presence, if observed at all, was standard protocol for an artist of Jin's global scale, especially in a country where large-scale events often require layered protection for insurance and crowd control purposes. The rumors that flooded social media, videos of supposed plainclothes agents, alleged signal tapping, and ambiguous drone footage, were amplified through selective framing and emotionally charged commentary. Much of the evidence cited by fans was taken out of context, or worse, fabricated. The emergency rehearsals some fans reported were, in fact, routine safety drills mandated by venue policy, not signs of imminent danger. Even the so-called classified documents circulating online were quickly debunked as digitally altered for attention. There was no coordinated threat, no internal HYB conflict tied to Tampa, and certainly no effort to suppress Jin's presence or speech. The absence of a post-concert message was likely due to scheduling, fatigue, or timing, not an ominous corporate decision. Moreover, the interpretation of Jin's physical gestures during the concert, like tapping the microphone, were emotionally exaggerated. Artists commonly adjust their equipment or signal staff without deeper meaning. The theory that Jin was under duress or surveillance is entirely unfounded. In truth, Jin's Tampa performance was a celebration of his post-military return, of his connection with ARMY, and of his personal artistry. The security, though present, was not extraordinary. The exit routes were not suspicious. The show went on exactly as planned, and fans left inspired, not fearful. The falsehood of this story serves as a powerful reminder. In today's digital landscape, compelling fiction can easily masquerade as plausible truth. And when it involves beloved public figures like Jin, emotions can override logic in seconds. What began as innocent observations turned into a swirling vortex of anxiety, all based on distortions, not facts. And oh, there was no hidden threat. No, Jin was not in danger. And no, Tampa was not a stage for secrets. It was simply one more glowing chapter in his triumphant return.